which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All board members are present.
Mission statement: Madison-Grant is an innovative education community, our students to be future ready. And the vision statement: inspire, cultivate, promote excellence in every archive. Public expression: public is always invited to speak before the board. Please stand and recognized by the president. State first class name. Comments should be addressed to the board and be limited to items on the agenda. No complaints or accusations regarding personnel can be allowed during the public discussion time. Time limit is 3 minutes will be given. If more than one person is representing for a group, only one spokesperson will be heard. There's an opportunity for additional comments on non-agenda items towards the end of the meeting. Here's those items. Approval of minutes. Minutes for the school board executive session held on September 9th.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Let's get reminded that we missed a slide.
We did miss the slide.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's not up there, but let's go ahead and have a state of the school presentation.
Yep. So on item number 2, state of the school presentation by Mr. Rutherford, senior high. Mr. Rutherford, the floor is yours.
Awesome, thank you. Good news for me is I don't have to be the state of the school, right? You know, we got visitors here to be the state of the school. So you guys all got to hear me present last week. So I have a couple things I'll talk to you about. I'm gonna let Ben go first, you know, to highlight. But you all know we started a PCAP program, and as part of the PCAP program, essentially we were looking at a freshman cohort group of kids, and this cohort group of kids was selected strategically. We sent out reminders. We had a call-out meeting for them to come and learn more about the program. We had an application process, so the kids had to fill out an application to be a part of the program. They had to go through an interview with the lead learners, who are our teachers. In the PCAP world, the teachers are known as the lead learners. Okay, and then finally they had to go through our work-based learning banquet, where they were all initiated into the program as well. So it was quite a process to be involved in this program. But the theory behind the program is for kids to take and be able to earn credits. And they are actually going to be earning credits in English 9, Algebra 1, and Geography and History of the World. And instead of doing that through the traditional lens of sitting in a classroom and, you know, taking a bunch of notes and taking tests and quizzes, doing worksheets, and all that, the standard thing you typically do in school. Instead, our teachers are infusing the standards from those 3 classes into project-based learning. And so that is the premise behind the PCAP programs. Take kids, give them a different opportunity and a little different way. And I think they'll speak for themselves tonight a little bit about, you know, how that's going. Just to kind of preview a few things from that as we get them ready to do this. So, first week of the program this year, I think they would probably all tell you the first week and a half was a little, what's the word I'm looking for? A little, maybe overwhelming. A little, they did a lot of team building exercises. They did a lot of icebreaker type things. They did a lot of, you know, how to work together as a team, because their projects are all group-based and they have to work in group. And I think I can speak for them when I say that got them way, way out of their numbers. Okay, and they didn't love that. Like the first week and a half, it's like, I'm not sure I'm liking this program. Okay, not that we didn't want them to like the program in the first week and a half, but what they didn't understand is that all that then leads into being able to do the projects. And so doing some of those chemistry, those working with the groups to gel together and be able to work in groups productively how they settle conflict when they don't agree about something. Because in a group, you sometimes don't agree with different things, and you have to sometimes agree. That's what we all do in the world, right? So, trying to infuse some of those things. So that was the first week and a half. And then they got into the first big project. And that is what these gentlemen are going to present to you tonight. So, the first project, they did a travel vacation planning project. Okay, and they'll probably be able to explain it better than I do. But the idea behind this was that each group got a different location, a different continent, country, to be able to plan a full-fledged vacation for a client, like they are a travel agent. And they are learning from their client what kind of vacation their client wants. And then their job is to plan from the itinerary to the flight plan to the budgeting part of it, to the researching the culture and the customs and the food and the different things that you would do on this vacation. They had to do all of that. We actually had a travel agent come in, and they were our industry partner for the project, where they kind of talked to them a little bit about what a travel agent does, and those kind of things. And then they got to act like a travel agent. The best part of the project is at the end, then the travel agent got back, and they were then had to present for the travel agent. So they've already had to do this once with travel agent, and they're not nervous at all tonight. They're not nervous at all tonight about doing it. So, but that was the premise behind the project. So they got presentation skills, they got speaking skills, they got grammar, and writing and creating a slideshow. They obviously lots of geography, because every group had a different place, and so they're learning about different places as part of the geography standards. The budgeting, the flight plans, those kind of things involved a lot of the math skills that we were trying to infuse into the project. That is the premise of teaching. It's taking projects, having the kids do projects, and work all those things. The bonus part for them is that then they also get to do things and make things on some of the equipment that we were able to purchase. Through the grant that we received, and shout out the group at Cell. Brooke Marsh, she may be watching online. She's going to be tonight, so she was able to get into the link. But working with that group last year was a lot about planning this program, and now we're so they are in their second project now. The second project is they are meeting with clients, and the clients in this case were some of our other teachers in the building, to plan or to create their own tiny house. And they are going to have to then build a model of this tiny house for their client. So the client was able to tell them that, I wanted this location, I wanted to have 2 bedrooms, I wanted to have, whatever it is. And now their job is to figure out square footage wise, and then look at how to be an architect for what this tiny house, and actually then build a escape for the house that they will then present back to their client. This is what we mocked up. Okay, so it's just a lot of those kind of hands-on skills, that infuses the standards for English 9, Algebra 1, and Geography, History of the World into these projects. It's just exciting. We went to Winchester last year. Winchester High School is our mentor school, and we went last year and visited there, and just to visit and talk with the kids and see. We didn't know those kids. We didn't know those kids at Winchester, but just to see their eyes shining, and their ability to tell us what they were doing there. And it's kind of exciting now that we have our own group here where we're getting to see that very thing happen. Like, those kids are enjoying the learning aspect of things and not having to sit, take notes the traditional way and such. So when I learned we were doing the spotlight, Mr. Moore thought that PCAP was a great thing to spotlight tonight. I agree with you wholeheartedly. So I talked to the lead learners of who should present, and these three young men were the ones that they selected from their class that felt like they had modeled this presentation the very best. So they are our PCAP scholars. So in PCAP, they're not students; they are PCAP scholars. And so we've got Liam Weaver. Okay, we have Jaden Parrish, and we have Mason Gronk. They are going to present on Rio de Janeiro. You guys ready? Did I get you summed up here pretty good? Okay, I'm gonna let you take it over then.
Just want us to go up then.
Where do you?
Right there.
Right here. Yeah, there you go.
I promise we will not money. We're like the friendliest people. It's just hard when you get going. You don't know who you're talking to.
See it that way.
Yeah.
There's such a delay.
Like,
I'm
you're gonna
afraid
get
I'll
the
get
best
behind it.
Yeah.
It's at the front.
Well,
TV.
I'd like to say it's
Thank
really an honor to be at James Rhodes School Board. 5 years something like this, but that's it's maybe enough. And my friends too. Like he said, we're doing our project on Tuesday. I think we could miss along Jim Page. So where to go? How about Rio? Now, why Rio de Janeiro? Well, really, Rio and all of South America have some of the greatest human-sized spots. No other city is like Rio with its many sunny beaches, thousands of vibrant colors, and iconic Christ-the-King statue really makes it one of the best places to be.
So we're going to Rio. Well, one to another. Actually, the reason for this book. Now, family's first flight for International Airport. That's 605. So it's the best. And terminal S1 and the second flight from Madison to Sao Paulo or almost National Airport. Terminal 3 at 9 p.m. And the second flight has a 2 hour. We're here. The final flight from Palos International Airport, 3 hour and 10 minute trip to the Rio de Janeiro International Airport, so to at 110. And apparently we're renting a full-size SUV Volkswagen to cross highway for the mileage. Yes, that will those are just the only word to stay on vacation, unwanted ties, so although everything on February offer of type A, 2 double rooms, free breakfast, 6 days, living missions. First check-in date will get Sunday, March 29th to Saturday, with 2 standard days. Anyone believe? Rio is quite a tasty place. Dishes, platters, food, rice, chicken. There's even a whole bed of carnival festival dedicated to worship. And as much food as possible. The first restaurant absolutely average of $25. Second, burger machine
$5 average. The last conservative office house attended for $20 to $35. And if the family gets into a long day, they can stop at Subway at $16 average.
There's so much to do. We have three pretty fun, adventurous things to do while you're here. At any time, have the best time at the lawn beach, for the ocean, sun, and all sorts of fun. The best time to go would be around 2 p.m. for food and drinks that are provided at the beach. The second thing family can do while you're there is a 4-hour hike. 4-hour hike. You'll notice and see the amazing Chrysler Union statue, and it is made to many guides at the mountain entrance. The last thing the family can do while on the trip is an architectural downtown tour. The city has multiple beautiful landmarks, and on a tour you can see all of them. Throughout downtown, the beauty of the ocean. Now, this is our souvenir of the Chrysler Union statue. It is a stand-up figurine. If you'd like to pass it around to see it, the stuff on the bottom is just the rest of it.
Did you treat this?
No, we actually,
Break it.
yeah, with a globe forge. We cut it out. It's medium clear acrylic. Cut it out with our globe forge with a laser cutter. So it's really fast. Very fast. We chose this statue and really the entire project of renovating it from the material we got, which is the clear acrylic. Based on the continent we also got, which was South America, quite a few winners. Plus the medium clear acrylic, we thought it was perfect to make the statue since the clear acrylic looked like the statue already.
So your inspiration.
Yeah, it's
Acrylic
just all
just
over
is.
the place.
Nice.
Which must be a luxury. Money can be a very mind-numbing experience when it comes to travel. And I can guarantee you that this trip is well over budget, considering everything that's packed into it so far. Luckily for you though, we saved us about $3,000 for whatever extras we may want for it. The flights went up to $5,422.65. The rental car was $375.20, $21 per day, including gas stops. The hotel was $648.50 for O2 per night. The food was from $204 to $476, depending on what spot at the restaurants with these fast food places. Entertainment, which was only the downtown tour and the hiking trip, the beach was went up to a $233.56, and souvenirs, one souvenir for each family member, were $30, one souvenir being $7.50. And the total went up to a $6,732.65 to $7,185.65, again, depending on the spot.
Few more minutes. You don't already know, don't worry, because you won't just yet. You want was right on. Other one was 7 hours, 45 minutes going to the schedule, but think of it as, plus money the flights to vacation is still long. My eyes are straight.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just like,
You can keep going.
Keep going. Get as much as you need.
Come right on up.
so right, just like, gather in, moving to the airport. So, 2 at 5 p.m. to St. Carlos, Carlos International Airport at 6:10 p.m. Second flight from Barbados International Airport, 10:20 p.m. to Chicago O'Hare International. Chicago is at 6:45 a.m. And final flight from O'Hare International between them, Fort Wayne International, being working part. First, like, I think I could fly to the labor, say by the 7 hours of time. As we look back out the plane window, it's nice to know the fun's had, can be had next time on a trip like this. We didn't know where it's supposed to go.
Great job, guys. What questions do you have for them or for me, I guess?
When's the field trip?
I love the positivity of the layover, right? You know, that's what we're all thinking while we're at the airport. You know, just getting to prolong our vacation, right? That's good.
I've got one, but what was your guys' greatest challenge as a group in moving through the project?
Right, yeah, making this probably was, before we started on slides for doing, vacation, the souvenir probably. Was the look forward to the design we paid for the statue. They just wouldn't go into the format, so we had to go through a bunch of different pictures to find the right one. But, I think it was
That's like life, you just like trial there.
Yeah.
What were one of the other locations that another group did that you thought was interesting?
Another group, one of our friends did Germany. It was just their slide presentation that they did. It was the one really funny, two just also well thought out like ours, and some of the stuff that was in it that we didn't have, but also contributed to making the project way better. I really like it.
Can I ask a question of the parents? I'm curious as to when your sons came home and said, oh, there's this program and they want me to apply, what your thoughts were, and then and what your thoughts are now as you've seen them, the sons be in this program.
I thought it was a good idea, just because Liam, he tends to do well with more hands-on type of stuff. So I thought it would just be a good opportunity for him. And you never know unless you try. So. And his grades this year are looking pretty good. So I'm pleased with it so far.
I agree with that too.
Yeah,
Mom, yeah,
I
exactly.
agree pretty much with everything. I had issues with traditional schooling and just no taking work with this. But this one was kind of in the beginning, he was a little weird, but after that, he was perfectly fine. And everybody can say how great his grades are. So I'm all for it.
That'd make you proud. You put up your goodness. Yeah.
It's showing multiple ways of learning into one thing, incorporating them, right? Like with the architecture, for example, like I'm only just now getting into miniatures, a lot of you, but to see it from a perspective of how you would take a client to show like presenting a building to somebody for like a new entrepreneur or something like that. It's neat to see it presented in this way to show like how you can incorporate math, geometry, even to know what the best way to put this in, geography, where, things like that, how many bedrooms, even, just to know how they would envision it themselves, it's neat.
Yeah.
And to see the steps along the way, because like, I'm like, okay, where are you guys at now? What are you going to bring home? What can I get pictures of? It's exciting. I love it.
What do you guys enjoy about
Like my dad said, it was hands-on, step more helping me think, maybe put out both thought answers, problems I think we would have to get to solve, with just reading and writing.
Did you guys find that each other, like always in a group, there's somebody that's got a golden string? Like that's their thing. Like,
Do you find that in your group? You have
Yeah,
these strengths. He's gonna work on this, I'm gonna work on that.
they both researched most of it. I did most of the designing on the slides and he supervised. And then he wrote a bit of the post.
I don't find your strengths.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Sure,
Do your best.
Now, are you guys in the same group for the next project?
No, that is standalone separate, so I'd be doing my own.
Oh, okay.
House would be doing his.
Oh, wow, okay.
Which teacher are you building your house for? Or designing your house for?
I'm designing for Miss Stanley.
Well, Bruce,
Mrs. Hodson?
she might be moving out.
Mrs.
For
Ford?
entertainment.
Yeah. Or maybe he's moving out.
I'm not a
Careful.
parent, but I just want to say for these guys, working with these guys since they were seventh graders, you see things in your kids and you just wait for the opportunity for it to come out, for other people to see it. And I am so excited to see, these are great kids. These are awesome kids, but if I told them in a traditional classroom they had to stand up and give a speech, they would be trying to come up with 10 different ways to get out of it. Their belly hurts, and somebody threw up, and they need to go home, but here they are, like coming to present to all of you, and they were excited about it, and they were smiling about it, looking forward to it. So I'm excited about this program because it gives people the chance to see awesome talents in kids that don't always come out in a traditional classroom.
So how are we? Are we scary? We can be. We can be really pretty scary. It was great having you.
Yes.
Fantastic job. I'm really proud of
Mrs. Stanley couldn't have said it any better. It is just great kids that have just traditional school has sometimes been a struggle, and to see them get to shine, doing something different, to see that is just it's so powerful.
And I will say this, because these boys probably don't even know this, but this program doesn't happen without him spending time in an application for a grant. And that grant is approximately $120,000 over 2 years. So we've spent $120,000 on this program over the course of last year and this year to provide this opportunity that without a grant, it isn't possible. But also to obtain a grant takes time, takes effort, takes energy. And we put that on top of everything else the principal's doing. I think it's big kudos to him fighting for each and every kid we have at home.
Before we get too much further, because I want you guys to hear this too, I know we knew it's kind of at the end, but Mr. Rutherford presented and Mrs. Hodson were down and presented your guys' program at school board conference to any other school board member that was down there. The room was packed. They stayed to listen to what he had to say about you guys.
It was late minute too.
It's
Like
late.
everybody wanted to go have dinner.
They were
Get a
giving away
beverage.
prizes in the hallway, and people stuck around to listen to what he had to say about the program that you guys are in right now. People were that impressed with it. So, but again, thank you guys for trusting us and trying it out with us and seeing it. But people have taken notice. So, yes, so thank you. I don't mean to steal your thunder till the end, but there you go. I wanted to make sure they heard that too.
I appreciate that. I think, again, we obviously have great partners that have helped us along the way, working with, well, now it's the two Brooks at Cell, and then working with Winchester and actually visiting down at Perry Central, down in Southern Indiana. The lead learners we did project-based learning, 3-day workshop training on how to do project-based learning, how to infuse the standards into those projects. I mean, it's been, last year was a busy year trying to plan and prepare and giving the teachers opportunities to work together. to, put their plans together. Truly, they get the kudos. And I know they're not here tonight, but Jace Martin, Cecilia Lynn, and Tricia Meehan are our 3 learners, and they are doing a tremendous job. They've honestly demonstrated even for these guys what working in a group is. Working together as a teacher team or lead learner team, I should say, to be able to do this and continuously trying to get things better. Mrs. Stanley and our counselors were able to get them a common prep sheet. That's a small miracle in a small school to get all 3 of those lead learners first period prep together, so that they still have to prep their other classes they're teaching, but they have a common time together where they can plan together for upcoming projects. So we're just in the infancy here, excited to learn and figure out along the way, what's working, what's not working, what do we got to fix. But I know that these guys are going to have a voice in that, and are really revolutionizing a new program that could be here for a long time. So what you're doing and the input and the things that you're going to even teach us about what works for you and what doesn't work for you is going to be continued for many years to come, cohort groups beyond. So you're the guinea pigs, okay? You're the guinea pigs, but sometimes it's nice to blaze a trail and be the ones that are blazing it for everybody else. So you guys wouldn't have done, you just wouldn't have done it. They wouldn't have done this last year. They just wouldn't have done it, and look what we got today. So I'm really proud of you. Really proud of all 3 of you. So Mr. Moore, I know, spent some time with them a little bit last year and working on homework and getting homework caught up during lunch and stuff. Which ones of you were in his homework? You didn't have to go to do the homework. That's good. That's good. And the truth is, they've never not been capable of doing it. It just wasn't the style that fits their learning style the best. And now they get to do that. So it's a tremendous opportunity, and we're thankful that we've got the support of you all to do it, and looking forward to what's to come. So I will share with you, and I guess if they want to go, if you guys want to get out of here, you don't have to stick around. You want to. Guys, good job. You want to pick that? Yeah. You know what? We should get a picture.
Hang on, boys.
We should get a picture. Maybe with you and your parents over here on the wall. Okay? We'll get a picture.
You want to be the parent?
Oh, okay.
You don't want to be the parents?
You can be the boss.
You guys are in the middle and the parents get the crown. Okay? How's that? One, two, three. We'll take one more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, great job, guys. Great job. I'm glad you guys were all able to come. Thank you for coming. All right, one of the other things that I was asked to give you a little update on tonight was just, we worked last year a lot on grades and trying to get the failure rates down. Truthfully, this is even just one of those, just saw an example, and different strategies that we've got to do in order to get kids learning the way they learn this. Because it's not a lack of ability, it's been a little bit of lack of engagement, a lack of motivation. But when you give them the opportunity to learn the way they learn best, they have the opportunity to shine. So this, things are, I think, from that standpoint, it's one strategy of many. So, It's especially important at the ninth grade level, because traditionally, ninth graders come in as freshmen, they fail. Kids like these guys that haven't been motivated, haven't been engaged by school, don't love the traditional setting, come in and they get behind. They fail some classes, they get behind, and now we spend their sophomore, their junior, and their senior years trying to play catch up. And this is to help, give them again that opportunity to do it. Okay. I am happy to report that our failure rate is better. Still, got work to do. Okay. But this time last year, at essentially the 6-week mark of the first quarter, across the board, okay, we had 226 Fs. Okay, and 120 individuals that were failing something. Okay, put that in perspective. 120 is 6.1% of the class was failing at least one class at this time last year. Okay, this year, that 226 is down to 192, and at 24.8%. Okay, so not a huge change, but at least trending the right way. I will say that at the 3-week mark this year, we had 237 tests, which was almost 30% of the class. So from the 3-week mark to the 6-week mark, we made 6% reduction in its failing. So I still will profess that those numbers are still way too high. 25%, 1 in 4 kids in the class is truly unacceptable. So I'm not gonna be proud of those numbers, other than it's at least better. And we continue to work on this. So we have our teachers are each Wednesday when they do grade checks, we have them pulling out basically a spreadsheet that we all share, we put in the numbers. So they're counseling with kids in their homeroom every single Wednesday. Again, trying to continue to work on motivating, helping them if they need help, encouraging them to complete assignments that they have to completing, those kind of things. So that happens every Wednesday. I'm still sending out occasional updates, what the overall data is, where we're going with that. So we're going to keep working on it. Happy that it's improving. For the 15 kids that are in the PCAP program, I believe that they're right. For maybe the first time ever. That's what it's like. We fix it 1 and 2 and 3 kids at a time. So. Questions about any grades or things like that, or anything else going on in this class?
Pretty even across the grade level.
What you would traditionally think, generally junior high is our weaker areas as they get older and junior and senior year, it goes down, but I can more specific with that. So our biggest struggling class right now is actually the 8th grade class. They are 38% in class. Our 7th graders are 22.5, which is actually under the school average. That's not bad for 7th grade. They usually grow a little higher. 9th graders are 28%, 10th graders 26%, 11th graders 18%, and 12th graders 30%. So it traditionally, as kids we're starting to see a little more light at the end of the tunnel, a little more maturity and a little more, I hate this, I don't want to do it, but I don't want to be back here next. I gotta do it, so I'll do it, So I will say 11th and 12th grade year too, and these kids will get that experience too, so, 11th and 12th grade year, a lot of our kids are newer Christian program, or we work based on the program. And so junior and senior year become a little easier to settle. They're only in the traditional classes half the day, and then they get to go do the more hands-on types.
So there, I was just gonna say is that second part of the day is fun.
Yes, I mean, not every kid goes to the first, not every kid does work-based learning program, but the number of required, assuming that they're on track, and they're not making up stuff from freshman and sophomore year, the number of required classes is less in 11th grade, even in senior year here, it's 5 classes that are required, that's it, 5 semesters, so I mean like 2.5 periods of their day is based upon things that are still required credits that say they are required to have. So they get so much more choice in what the rest of their day looks like. We do have lots of kids that do personal, we have lots of kids that work based on programming, which are all the things that, I mean, the states are pushing, they're pushing those things too. So we were already, when you think about the new diploma, and this year's freshman being the first year under the new diploma format, that we were already ahead. We were already ahead of the game in terms of what the requirements. We already kind of required, so PCAP is just one area of many that we need to continue to focus. I would really, like my goal for year 2 in PCAP is not just PCAP related, but because we'll bring on a second group. So these kids will continue in as sophomores. We'll be on a sophomore cohort, earning credits, sophomore things. We'll bring on another group of freshmen that will start their freshman cohort. But what I would also like to see is a little bit of project-based learning using in other areas, because I think it's good for all kids to be able to have the opportunity to do some of those hands-on things. So using some time, even if it's one unit or one project a semester in this class, one project a semester in this class, trying to use some of that across the board and not just being totally. And I think we'll actually get there because teachers are already noticing and they're already seeing some of the successes these kids are having. And how can I use that? Our lead learners were doing it in their final, like as last year after we did the training, they did in their classes last year, the project-based learning. They just get started because they were excited about it, and choose get practice. We can start doing that across the board. I mean, this learning style is not just unique to a certain kids, but it's beneficial. Perry Central is actually they are a project-based learning school, so their PCAP program is not really like ours. They infuse them across the board in all classes there. So it's kind of a school-wide model versus a cohort type model. I don't know that we want to get fully to a school model, but I think we can just be another area of the school.
Do you think your class numbers will stay the same this year? The next 30
We knew we were looking at somewhere between 12 and 15. That's kind of the cohort model size that other schools kind of recommended. If you get too many people in there, then it's hard to get into chaos. So trying to keep your cohort size somewhat small and really work with it. I would say that this year's freshman group, and honestly next year's freshman group, probably are groups that maybe that we're pushing the upper edge of that 15 because we just have that number of kids together. So I need to say that we want to just cap it for the number. We want to make it available to kids that we think will really benefit from it. But we do have to be careful about how.
I kind of wondered if you have a wait list, like, you might get some communication on it. Might get.
We actually have a youth freshman student that was previously in here, but he would have been a perfect kid for it. But he didn't come until like middle of August. So, I mean, it's even possible like next year we might have it with kids in the school. So a little reluctance to do that in the middle, but we've already done our building, we've got your chemistry set, got like everything is working, you don't want to introduce somebody else to it. So we didn't do that. But maybe as the start of the year, we bring that in too. Thanks for the opportunity to spotlight. I took up a lot of your time. Like, I'm sure you do. You know, the business side of it's not what you really want to be on school or with all the business stuff. 20 years, good things going on, right? So obviously, anytime you have questions about anything. It's been a long day, and I'm gonna get out of your way. Okay? So you guys have a wonderful evening, okay?
You too, thank you.
No more fun. That's the fun.
Sorry. You can be fun, you can be entertaining.
Not like that.
Let's set it up.
Approval minutes. Minutes of school board meeting. Held on September 9th, 2025. Also approval at the time.
Any questions on this? Anyone for approval, please? Mr. Venus, Mr. Stanley, all those in favor? Are you gonna stay?
I'll stay.
Okay, we're just gonna stay on. Just because she wasn't here. Sorry.
Approval of vouchers, calculated checks 36524 to 36559. Voucher deal 3502 299 to 3502 319. Payroll on 0912 showed $878,645.06. After
Any questions on vouchers? Anyone for approval of vouchers, please? First by Dr. Sneed, second by Mr. Stanley, all those in favor? Motion passes.
personnel tonight, small but very effective. So I ask for your approval to move forward after the time.
The motion for approval, please. First by Mrs. Longacre, second by Mr. Davis, all those in favor? Motion passes.
Donation Park Elementary, a $200 and a $100 donation from Ponte Christian Church. This is to support the picture fund, staff social committee, future appreciation. As for approval.
And motion for the approval of donations. First by Mrs. Longacre, second by Mr. Stanley, all those in favor? Motion passes.
Action items. Mr. Mayor is up.
Okay, so here we are, what we're gonna call step number 3, with the proposed adoption of our 2026 budget, our capital project plan, and our bus replacement plan. I'll let Mrs. Richards get this loaded. Okay, so tonight is our final proposed item. So you can see everything is now checked off the list.
Try pointing, there you go.
Okay, first off, the 2026 bus replacement plan. We've discussed this on 2 other occasions at this point, but we're still waiting on our 2 yellow buses that were ordered in February of 25, that we'll see in 26. But again, to remind you, that's not being paid out of operations, that's coming out of our 2024 GEO bond. And then we'll continue to monitor funds as we move through the 26 budget, and see if we can replace a mini bus as well as we move through. The 2026 capital projects plan, year 1, $300,000 budgeted out of our operations fund for capital projects. Most of those preventative maintenance items, but that is down from $425,000 in 2025. So our 26 budget, ed fund, again, our revenue a little shy of $18 million. There's our assumptions for our ADM, drove those revenue numbers. And then there are our expenditure or our appropriations of $19,261,650, which does include $1 million ed op transfer, which would fall in that 6 to 13% range. There's the assumptions that I used to build our expenditures in the ed fund as it relates to salaries and insurance rates. And just to make note, our in-person budget, so the ed fund budget that's tied to our in-person expenditures is down approximately $364,000 from 2025. But fund balance, the way that this budget is projected, is a spend down of fund balance of about $1.3 million. And again, I remind you, as always, I always hope that I'm understating our revenue and overstating our expenditures throughout the budget year. We end up settling out, landing the big fund flat. Any questions on the ed fund before I get out?
I'm assuming the assumption is 4,000 based off in-person help.
All right, so what we budgeted for in-person in 2025, I budgeted 364,000 less. 26.
That's based off.
That 825 number.
Yes. That's what helps.
Okay. So hopefully ADM comes in higher, but there's a little less balance. Cash flow always looks ugly. January, February, March, April. It starts looking up after that. Ed fund, there's our education fund budget. It's crazy to think that in 21 our ed fund budget was 7.7 million, and we just budgeted 18.2 million this year. So now there's expenditures tied to our virtual partnership, but we've grown from 7.7 to almost 8.5. So over that span, if you think about it, over the course of 6 budget years, we've really only increased our ed fund budget from 7.7 to 8.5. So a little less than $800,000 over 6 years. Operations fund, we budgeted revenue of $4,438,806. You can see our max levy is the number there. That's a little over 3.5 million. We do have $1 million budgeted coming in the ed op transfer, and I used a $350,000 circuit breaker estimate, which is included in that. On the expense side, you can see 45% is tied to salary and benefits, 55% is tied to operating costs. Our 26 budget is only up $13,000 versus our 25 budget. So we've done some things to help us there as we navigate increase in expenditures, increase in insurance costs, things such as absorbing a bus route, absorbing a custodian. Naturally through attrition, as people retire, as people depart, we're always looking at our personnel and identifying if there's room for efficiencies. But the 2026 budget for our operations fund shows us spending down our fund balance by $560,000. Again, it's our hope that as we move throughout a budget year, we monitor revenue, expenses, and we can flag. Here's our operations fund. I can tell you that we do have AV now, and I will show you that when we get here. But I was able to really hone in on what I believe our anticipated tax rate is going to be for our operations fund if we do go get our max levy. And I remind you that when they send you the 1782 notice, we have the opportunity to ask for revision. Okay, so we have to receive that 1782 notice by December 31st. I have that in here in the slide, but we do have an opportunity to ask for a revision of that 1782 notice. But right now, if we levied our max amount of money that we can go get in our operations fund, our levy would be about 56 cents in our operations fund. That's up, you can see where that's up from 53 cents last year. Debt service, we're gonna go try to get a little over $2.5 million, 2,471,811 in the levy. We have some miscellaneous, license income tax, commercial vehicle excise tax, and so forth. But our debt lease payments for 2026 are $2,471,811. That is down $204,000 from our 25 budget year, and that's because our payment on our 24 GO bond is that much less than 26. And this will be the final year for our 2024 GO bond. So fund balance, you know, we have max fund balance right now. I'm gonna guess we're gonna have right around there. We'll see what our circuit breaker impact ends up being in the debt service fund, but I anticipate I still have a fund balance in our debt service. So here's where we are here. You can see there with budgets, with what we're hoping or anticipating and certifying or having come back certified. But right now I'm projecting that our rate, if we go get the $2,471,811 in debt payments that we have, our tax rate would be 39 cents. Again, could we choose to spend down our fund balance in there by 200 of the 500,000 that's in there? We could. And if we chose to spend down the 200,000, then it would reduce that rate at 5. But again, that's all revisions that we can make for our 1782 notice. See that. Rainy day fund, I'm not projecting any revenue, and I always budget $500,000 of expense just to get that appropriation of $500,000. But again, I anticipate no change in our fund balance. So here you go. Here's your net assessed value. You can see we are down a little over $8 million. I'm trying to see that here. Is that $8 million? Yeah, we're down a little over 8. So that $8,665,147. And that is coming from Grant County. Madison County is up a tick, but Grant County is down. Mrs. Richards, are you able to click that certified net assessed value link there? Good. So scroll down a little bit. This will show some of our surrounding neighbors and what they're seeing in their AEVs as well. So Eastbrook is down about 9 million in their AEV. Marion is up 14 million. Mississippi is up 14 million. Oak Hill's up 400,000. Tipton County had not been released when I built this. Blackbird's up a good little chunk, about 26 million. But both us and Eastbrook see comparable data here from that standpoint. Okay, you can go back to my presentation. Okay. So advertising certified rates right now. You can see historical data for what we advertised and what came in as certified. And you can see there our historical back to 22, we've been right at that 92-cent mark. With our reduction in AV, if we go get our max levy in the operations fund and we levy every dollar of our debt lease payments, we're going to see a rate of 90.9571. And again, that is purely due to a reduction in AV. That is what that is. Now you have to also partner that with a 4% increase in our levy in the operations fund. That's the max levy growth quotient is a 4% increase each year. So if we go get our 4% increase they're going to give us and our reduction in AV, a little less of debt lease payments, but that's where that rate ends up with what I project to be our certified rate in our 1782 notes. At that time, when we come back to the table, we discuss that, discuss options, and either I'll request options or I'll sign it. Go ahead and click that advertising certified tax rate. So scroll down. Keep going. Keep going. Going. Okay. So, It's thrown back up on you, isn't it? Okay.
I'm trying. I'll
I
keep
believe
going.
I've shared this with each of you. But again, this just gives you compare, some of our partner districts, where they've been historically, where we've been historically in comparison to them. And once 25 budgets once 2026 budgets are approved, I'll update this with new and accurate numbers. Yeah, it's not, but it's okay. So that leads us to this point where I seek approval to adopt our 2026 bus replacement plan, capital project plan, and our 2026 budget. Upon your guys' anticipated approval of that, I will finalize the things on Gateway that I need to finalize. Mr. Moore will submit, and we will sit and wait for them to issue us our 1782 notice that has to be issued prior to 12/31. But then, like I said, we do have an opportunity to make revisions to that 1782 notice. So at this time, we'll start with our capital project, and I would just seek your approval of our 2026 capital project.
You look for the approval of capital projects, please. First by Mr. Stanley, second by Dr. Sneed, all those in favor, motion passes.
Next, I would seek permission or approval of our 2026 bus replacement plan.
Your motion for the adoption of the bus replacement, please. First by Mr. Stanley, second by Mrs. Martin, all those in favor, motion passes.
And finally, I'm seeking approval of our 2026 budget.
The motion for the approval of budget, please. First by Mr. Stanley, second by Mr. Haynes, all those in favor, motion passes.
Thank you. You can get out of that and get back into our presentation. Yes.
Capital bus, how did the, one bus go forward? Officers got 2 buses coming from the
Correct. If, right now, thankfully, we have buses in the bullpen. So for us to lose a bus out of mission doesn't bind us because we have buses waiting. Now, it may not be as new of a bus, or it may not be a bus with as few of miles or whatever it may be, but it doesn't put us behind. What we've received from insurance that come anywhere close to replacing that bus. Yeah, I don't remember what our check was. 36,000 buses cost us $140.
I ran that bus.
Yeah, and
It's an older bus.
I can't remember. It looks like an 8 or 9 year old bus. So thankfully, it was a year old bus, but we would have received more in insurance too had it been a year old bus with 15,000 miles. So, but yeah, so thankfully we managed our bus fleet in a way to where if we have to bus go out, we're not tired. Okay, the next item I have in front of you this evening is requesting approval to move from our current credit card, which is American Express, to the BMO Harris Bank P card, which is actually supported through IASBA, which is the Indiana Association of School Business Officials. The reason we went with American Express years ago was because American Express did not require anybody's individual social security number, any of those pieces. American Express was the only one, and that's why we went with American Express. This P card does the same thing. It does not require me to put my social security number on it, just support put his on it. It is supported and advocated by IASBO, or the Indiana Association of School Business Officials. Our American Express card has no rebates. You get nothing. Okay? We do get rebate incentive with the P card. And it's a conglomerate, it's a pool, and it's based upon your percentage of spending of the total pool, but at least we could see rebate. The other nice thing about it is it allows reconciliation by department. So our maintenance department, as long as they're abiding by the procedures that we have in place, they could, and then they reconcile their own. It comes to us for approval. We process. We're not cutting nearly as many checks. So it's going to cut down on the number of checks, the number of outstanding checks, the number of times we have vendors saying, you haven't paid us, and then we get online and show where the bank cleared the check, or where the check cleared the bank. And so just clean up a lot of those things. I made some other notes, and I did upload you guys the documentation. Just some other items, some local places around us that currently use this same card. Right here. I can just tell you, the city of Marion, the city of Elwood, the city of Tipton, Kokomo School Corporation, Marion Community Schools, Oakville United School Corporation, Taylor Community School Corporation, Tipton Community School Corporation, Tri-Central, Westfield, Diamond. Okay, so, it is my desire to close out our American Express card and move to this P card program. That will still take us a bit of time, and we're currently still in our transition financial software to voice, and so that is sucking the majority of our time at the moment, now that we have an adopted budget and thus because we have a product plan. But it's something that I would hope that we would be transitioned to by the end of the year, so that as we started a new year, we would be in our program. So I'm just seeking your approval of transitioning away from American Express to the IAS card program.
You pay these monthly, there's no carry over.
We
Not looking at an interest rate.
We reconcile about every 2 weeks.
Well,
I get it.
you've been places where they go.
Any further questions?
What company holds it? What companies?
VMO Harris. Yep, VMO Harris.
And for you, you're gonna issue them by department, not by.
It's gonna be by department, not by.
Do you have spending limits on that?
We have full access to set whatever we desire.
So
to set.
you set the limits. And change the limits.
Correct. If I know that we're gonna make a big purchase, and I want us to.
But you don't have to make a flight, you know, there's twice.
Correct.
Once to get there and once to get home, like.
But I mean, if we're gonna make a big purchase, and there's a benefit to us and a kickback, right, and an incentive, but it's gonna outreach that limit that I have set, and we may go into that, make that purchase, and then process it and go back. But from the accounts payable standpoint, it'll bring up a lot of stuff for us. We won't be chasing checks constantly, we're still gonna have checks. But there was a figure in that documentation where it reduces checks by approximately 50 to 60%, or sorry, 50 to 60% of the checks we write are less than $500. Okay, and I forget what that, what the number was.
They have a.
Yeah, 55 to 60%, are for less than $500. And there was one where they put in, you guys have that information there, but just, it will create some efficiencies for us that, and again, receive some feedback.
Do you have a training?
So we will go through training, so that will be Mrs. Richard, myself, Mr. Moore, and Mr. McGuire. And then we will take care of training, transportation department, maintenance department, so. Treasurers at the building level.
So that they understand.
There's still an approval process, I mean,
Yeah, it's still,
there is.
but
It will.
they go crazy.
there-
Runoff.
There's heavy oversight.
Yeah.
We haven't had any of those controls, so we'll have those in place.
Alright.
And
I've been
Any other questions? Okay, let's see, approval of the, card. Mr. Stanley. Second by Dr. Cole. Second by Mrs. Longacre. All those in favor? Those passes. I kind of saw both of you out of the corner of my eye at the same time.
Next item is board meeting calendar. This is Richard, this is the other based on what we did this year. And on this man, he's approved, and we should make sure you can get everything reconciled for that first board meeting. And then, we talked about it, chat about it, think we're at a good place. This is why we asked about the July 4th, since we have 3 days on that weekend, we have 3 days to do that. Then what we could do, reconcile it before that day. So I think we're in a good place with that calendar as we do with this topic.
Any other questions? Any questions for the board meeting calendar for Wednesday, please? First by Mrs. Martin, second by Mr. Stanley. All those in favor? Those passes.
Next item is 8th grade field trip to St. Louis. This is a field trip that they used to take to Washington, D.C. And they switched this trip to St. Louis, one, because it's closer, and they can actually do one thing. You get one game in the 2 day, then they can only do. Second reason, Sally's still gonna do this, is Matthew, we're gonna work with her on that, and, we're gonna take that 2 day trip, and move the commission from board to go on that trip, this will be a nice substitution for our students, to go get more, actually, more about the, more than fit, riding on a bus.
So their parents will on this?
There will be chaperones, right?
Other questions? The motion for the approval of the safe police school trip. First by Mrs. Longacre, second by Mr. Stanley, all those in favor, this passes.
This is Sally's gonna be lost.
Pardon?
This is Sally's gonna be lost.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Give you guys a construction update here with some balances at the end of August. But at the end of August, our construction fund had a balance of a little over $1.8 million, $1,818,389.18. We do have $717,230.75 remaining contracts sitting out there. That's the parking lot work. Okay. So right now, my anticipated balance, once I write that, I just got that bill today. But once we pay for the parking lot, I'm anticipating we have a little over $1.1 million left in our construction fund. Okay. That 1.1 will need to be spent by November of 2026. Just keep that in mind. The only heavy big push that I have right now, just because of timing, that I keep getting people requesting is the irrigation on baseball and softball. Have that work done in the fall so that those facilities can be repaired. I did put Mr. Erniak to work. He did obtain 3 quotes for that work. One quote came in at $58,975. Another quote came in at $57,950. And the third quote came in at $49,700. So the 3 quotes of $49,000 is the least. But if we were going to do that work, ideally now is the time to do that work so they can get in. Do that. I will remind you that as part of the project, they had bored a water line under the parking lot prior to identifying we had treated water out there. And so they put a basically they capped it out there with the idea that we could use that as an irrigation supply. So that is sitting out there just to the southeast of the new outdoor athletic building, between there, just a little bit south of the softball. So that is something that we're looking at heavily. But again, anticipating right now about 1.1 million left, that would choose 50,000 of that if we would choose to have that irrigation. So when we come back in October, I will have a recommendation. That is on the
I think 3 quotes we got. So one cut to the
one is one that we're very familiar with. A current vendor. Okay, that's done our irrigation work. Another, yes, reputable, I won't get named at this time, but Cicero and Alabama. The design was the same, because I wanted it apples to apples. And so that was, I didn't want to go to this problem, somebody undercut project, we didn't have the same quality, so they were each providing the same specs, they were providing us. And for the most part, pretty close, not a whole lot of variance. So that's all I have. Long-term facility study, just got an email before I get down here this evening where they're ready to start doing some staff surveys. They've done it with our principals. And so they're reaching out to Mr. Moore and I to discuss that next layer of how they start conducting some staff surveys in regards to our long-term facility stuff. That's all I have.
We get you, this
We have not. That is, when I told you guys that we have kind of a wish list, I can tell you. Baseball, softball bleachers, and a new ramp at the north end of the football bleachers are ADA compliant ones at the south end, which is no longer the main entry. And so we did receive some feedback over the course of a few football games about the inconvenience of that. But right now, that's one of the projects noted on here. Tennis has requested a scoreboard. The irrigation, we still do need to do a warning track top dressing on baseball. We just have the bigger stone right now creating that base. We do need to finish that. But that quote was about $12,000 to have that completed. And then you guys, and one that gets expensive, but one that I have down here is a weight room refresh. I don't think our weight room has been touched since. Yeah. And so it's been a minute, and as much as that stuff gets used and gets beat around, we're at a spot, but like I said, that could be a project that could be worth $75,000 to $100,000.
How does that tennis scoreboard look?
Pretty neat. It is set up to where all 6 sports are displayed. And so instead of the kids going and flipping the chart, they walk over and the wireless controller sits right there, they put it in, dressed up on the scoreboard. And now all of a sudden everybody can see. The idea would be to put it at the north end so that anybody sitting around could see it, but it'd be centered on the north end of our tennis courts, elevated above the fence on steel high beams, just like baseball and softball. But yeah, it's court 1, court 2, court 3, court 4, court 5, court 6. It has the total team score, so 1-0, 2-0, whatever it may be, but then each match score 2.
I wasn't quite sure how tennis would work.
I will tell you a number figure that I think is probably pretty accurate for that purchase and installation is $25,000.
I would like to talk about the price. That's right. So, with the money we've got left over, we're working on spending it. What do you do left? That's essentially a bit of a fun thing. You just take that money and repay it. Is that the benefit?
You know, I think there's.
What's the financial?
Yeah, I think knowing something needs across the district, or can be a big gap. I don't think we have any top meetings, and that's what decided.
And that's
And then there's some HVAC needs, just the board has a meeting, quick meeting, here, showing you what the site is by what's expensive they're gonna be. For some of those HVAC needs that you know, the facility study is gonna help a lot, because the facility study, they're gonna be able to just say, hey, here's your greatest needs today, here's the dollar value. Which is why I'm trying to protect this pot of money a little bit, because if they come and present to you guys in December or January, there's a couple big ticket items we just want to get out of the way, we can make a decision to come out of that.
we can use this money for. That's what I was thinking. I thought you could use the money.
The way that our debt borrowing is written, it's given us a bit of flexibility. Now, I can't buy software. There's a few things that I cannot buy, but Ice Miller did us a favor in the way that they drafted the borrowing to give us flexibility in how we use the funds. So just to remind you guys again, too, the reason we're pricing about 1.1 really that would have been about 500,000, like $600,000, almost $600,000 interest.
I guess I would say it's the opposite of the thinking of some small things to help there, especially with stuff coming online operations. Tackling as much as you can, not spending it. Smart into
it. Like I said, my desire in my seat is to sit on this as much as possible until we have that long-term facility set back. And then we can make decisions and process needs.
And if you have $400,000 bill comes up as well, you can swallow it.
Absolutely.
These funds pay for it and you can go through years.
Yeah.
So your plan is to sit on it as long as possible. Is there?
I need to have a plan heading into this in order for us to get the work done.
By sort of, like. Just to put on.
So I would like to have our list heading into
The facility studies.
facility studies underway right now. I'm hoping that will be done December.
I'd rather have something pop up on the sports facility. $10,000. No. Nothing. I'm finding that, getting that.
Like a $10,000 project school, whether you can find a way to pay for it, and a $500,000 complete HVAC overhaul. So, yeah. Again, I like this cost of money is self-insurance. The fact that we get ambulance for 118 months now stinks, because we kind of drive on this extended period of time. So we'll do the best that we can, but again, let's get this long-term facility study back on. I know some things are a little more time sensitive just because of time of year, so. But I'd like this long-term facility study back before we make strong. I'm done.
Okay, first, well, I guess I just want to reiterate the fact that the presentation, was us did great at the conference. But I don't think, Mr. Martin, Mr. Lynn, not Mrs. Lynn Morris.
Williams.
William, yeah, Williams, just got married and, they spent a lot of time this summer developing new lessons there. And so they have a lot to do with the success of it. So I think that's good. Save the date, November 3rd, Kokomo is our district 3 meeting, 5:30 registration. If you could, if you get those, not in the meeting, text Dana once you figure out that you can go or not go to that event. That would be great, so she can get us registered for that. That is November 3rd. Kokomo. Next is Teacher Appreciation Grant Fund. We're getting new guidance for that, it seems like, on a regular basis. So now, the direction that they're going, Teacher Appreciation Grant Fund is an opt-in or an opt-out proposal. All the guidance we're getting from our associations, everything is the best option is to opt in, because if you don't opt in, it's going to give you your big money. So, this is money delivered to the teachers. Each school gets 20% of the teacher workforce, which means that includes the prep class. So it's roughly 125 teachers. So we roughly have 25 teachers that are eligible for the funds. We're going to sit down with the teacher group and decide the best way to do that, but everybody's leaning towards doing an application model where each teacher actually applies, finds evidence that their eligibility for that, and once the numbers get to 25, it's going to be for life. Everybody has a chance. But that's all. There's 3 tiers. There's $3,000, $5,000, $5,000 options for that based on qualification criteria. It's obviously a work in motion. The money will not pass. The money that's come in around December for Christmas, April. When the money is going to be done this year. So, the bundle, I believe, is $38 million they have. The idea is if you don't opt in, just won't up money for schools to opt in. So anyway, so I've opted in, Madison-Grant's in, and so now it's getting with our teacher group and chatting about the best way to do this. So it's fair for everybody. That's our goal. So, how many schools is what? It's got to be done by October 1. Mine's in. Mine is.
Yes.
I think
Don't put that in the paper.
Here's what I can tell you.
Secret
I
option.
think a lot of schools
Yeah, yeah.
are afraid of this option. Because what it's going to do, we work really hard at making teachers not compete against one another. And now, and we're at the point where they're collaborating, and now it's going to take that away. And I don't like the message it sends. That's just my opinion. But I think it will deteriorate that collaboration that we're currently getting teachers working together. And so I don't know if that's the right message that we're sending to our teachers. Just maybe. Collective bargaining, we had our first meeting of collective bargaining on Sunday last night, and it went fairly well. We're hoping that the three students pretty good. We got good communication with our group. We have a good team. They have a good team, so it's that's going to be going as well as we expected right now. So we hope to have that finished relatively quick. SCA one, I just felt like I had to mention that again because that's all we talk about. I have a meeting about once a week about SCA one, and so there you go. I was doing the PowerPoint today, weather related delays in closing. Since we had fog this morning, I just want to talk a little bit about that. I started getting text messages about 4:15 from one of my friends in Madison County. And they're sending out saying, "What are you guys doing for the weather today? It's going to fog out." At that point, in 4:15, I wasn't doing much of anything about the weather. But as we rolled in at about 4:45, I rolled out, got out of the roads, and started looking. Christy's coming in from the west, so we collaborated. We get to school about 5:30. Collaborate with all these students and which direction we're going to go on those decisions. Where there was one school in the county that relayed this morning, everybody else, Madison County and nobody else did. But there was it wasn't very bad this morning. Big fear for that was it was about 6:30. The wind started picking up, which would try to help that. Our big fear is if you delay, we know what could happen at 8 o'clock. It could be worse. So if this passable at 6 o'clock, we're sure going to give it a shot. Because that nobody wants to bag a day, e-learning day for fall, because by 4 o'clock it's nice and sunny. So anyway, that's what I'm relaying about weather related days. We're not talking about snow or anything else yet. And that's all I have for you.
You still have that nice,
Pardon?
still have that nice page too about your description of the, how you need this.
We do.
That's fine.
Public expression, public is always invited to speak before the board, stand and recognized by the president, state the first and last name. Comments should be addressed to the board, if you limit corporation issues only. But complaints or accusations regarding personnel should be allowed during the public discussion time. Time limit 3 minutes to be given. More than one person is represented for a group. Only one spokesperson will be heard. President, you're invited to speak.
Next.
Anybody?
Homecoming was great. Good win, right? Dance was nice. Well, it's into that because dress up days were really fun. And a few new ones they always throw white lies for that's a lot. That's a week that just extra. Everything comes extra. And
I enjoyed attending the school conference. It was some wonderful workshops.
that was way better. This year's was so much better than the first year.
That's because we
Well, that goes without saying. They put us on every year video. The keynote was.
She was very good.
Amazing. And
I would love to see our PCAP kids go and make presentations. Like,
We went to one where the kids were actually there.
yeah, the kids were good at the student manufacturing project, and they did a fantastic job. I would love, maybe down the road.
Did want to say thank you for all those that were able to go. It was nice to be able to go. While it's there, attend. Yeah. This is all for this hospital. An incredible job. And I said
Yes.
earlier, extremely well attended. They had questions. We were there afterwards. They talked about even our career pathways that we do with a lot of the business partners outside of the school. They did talk about PCAP, but they did bring up, how many of our students got to go do other career leading projects or internships or whatnot. So will agree, like I said, lots of people. They just kept coming in. I was shocked at how much around. So and a lot of people were stunned in the fact that our kids don't pay. Let's do this for free. We figure out a way to make this happen for not a lot of schools can say they do that. Or we're able to do that. So that is one thing for a small school to have big opportunities. So, but thank you guys for taking the time out. I know people want to take time off with it. So I think really appreciate y'all to go down and be a part of that. So thank you.
It's refreshing. People ask you, how do you avoid issues? You say,
You did.
you were there.
And you were there. Not only did we have presentation, but our school was actually on one of the vendor, one of the big poster display highlights. So yeah, so at the vendors, yeah, Madison-Grant had a big banner, so we were out there as vendors too. So yeah, Madison-Grant was highlighted all over the place this year. So I think also
Upcoming events, October 7th, 2025, 7 p.m. here. Madison-Grant Boardroom, October 21st, 2025. Always better.
motion for adjournment, please. First by Mrs. Longacre, second by Mr. Stanley. All those in favor? Motion passes.
Hey, quick for
Yeah, you're good.
Right, I'm ready. Well, I think we always.
Okay, so I will not be at the next meeting on the 7th because I'm on a business trip in Vegas for my other job.
I'm sure it's business.
It is, honestly. I'll be covering a gambling conference, but yeah, I'm gonna be out of town that week, but I will be back. I'll be back on the 21st though.
Sounds good.
Unless you get it big.
Yeah.
I hope you do.
Be
Yeah, me
safe.
too.